Welcome to another episode of Mighty Car Mods, proudly supported by Just Car Insurance. And in this episode, we continue the turbo conversion of Martin's Miata MX. That's a 5.
So last episode, we got the car in there, we started welding things, Turbo Yoda started rotating turbos, we were doing front mounts VL style like this dude here, and we were...
Dude, man, VL, Camaros and VL. That was me in the mid-90s. Pantera, VLs, boom.
Not happening.
What do you mean not happening?
We're not putting a VL style intercooler on
No, but I used to have a VL, that's what I'm saying, they're awesome cars.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, continue on, because you're doing your thing with your little car.
So in this episode we continue. Last episode was massive, it was almost half an hour long. This one is just about the same, and we've got a whole lot of things to do, like plumbing in water and oil and doing pipes and exhaust and all sorts of other mad stuff.
It's going to be awesome, Martin. Give me a piggyback out of here to the closest Tofu Hotel. Yep, that one. Oh, ow, that was my... Sorry.
Last time on Mighty Car Mods, we finished our mad turbo manifold, rotated our Forester turbo, got our oil supply and return line, mounted the front, and got a bunch of supporting mods ready for boost. Choo choo. The manifold fits the engine perfectly, and the turbo is sitting exactly where we want it. Now it's all about plumbing it all together and making it work. Exhaust and intercooler pipes are next on the list.
So we were talking earlier about our ECU, and that needs a couple of inputs so it can calculate how much fuel to put in. And two of those inputs, one of them is that's an air temperature sensor. It's a standard General Motors one that people use for a lot of aftermarket ECUs. That needs to go just before the intake, so we're going to put it in to the pipe that's come there. Now that air's already gone through the turbo, been pressurised and been cooled, so that is the actual air temperature going into the motor, which is what it needs to know. This wiring is going to run all the way around the motor and over to where the old airflow meter plug used to be. We chucked that airflow meter in the bin quite ceremoniously. We're going to just jump those wires into there, which sends it straight into the ECU, which saves us doing some wiring. Then the only other thing we've got to do is run some vacuum line. Now the vacuum line goes onto this spare bung here. That's going to get stuck onto there. We're going to run it right through the engine bay, through the firewall, using a grommet that we've already got and has been drilled. That goes down to where the Mega Squirt ECU goes, and that's got a map sensor built in. We plug it in and then we start it up.
Well, we've still got to make a dump as well, Marty, don't we?
Yeah, and some intercooler piping and, you know.
And we've got to put some oil in it.
I'm getting excited.
Yeah, I'm getting excited too, Martin.
I want to start it now.
Yeah, don't start it now. That's not good.
Yeah.
But we will. And when we do, Martin, it'll be...
Turbo for the win.
Our turbo install is coming along nicely, but there's still lots to do, people. We need to get our exhaust adapted to fit the turbo dump pipe that we haven't made yet, wire in new sensors, change injectors, fuel pumps, and lots of other mad choo-choo enabling things. Turbo Yoda and Dose Vader are using their combined knowledge of millions of years of turbo experience to show us some mad custom methods.
If you aren't using a plug-and-play system, now would be the time to run your ECU wiring loom through the firewall or to splice the factory loom at the floor.
I've got it, Martin!
Congratulations.
So this intercooler had already been modified for another purpose. It had some outlets on it that were facing the wrong way, so we've cut them off, got some scrap out of the bin, just going to weld that on there so it suits the car a bit better.
We got to make a dump pipe.
Yep.
How does one make a dump pipe?
Alright, so we're going to cheat a bit because we don't have much time. So I've got this old flange plate with just a single hole in it. I'm just going to use that and put some stainless on the end of it.
Yep.
So I've pushed the heater hose out of the way a little bit because it was going to contact it, get a bit of clearance. Got plenty of space now, so we're just going to do this.
Awesome.
So that's where we want it.
And it'll fit, and then we eventually just reduce that down to our 2.5-inch exhaust.
Yeah, that's right.
Al was telling me that he turboed a fire truck. Literally the fire guys were like trying to get up to fires and away from fires in their fire truck, and they get to a hill with 9 tons of water.
And they did what any responsible person should do and turbocharge their thing.
And they rang up AM Auto and said, hey dude, we can't get up hills to put fires out. And Al goes, no worries. And then a week later they rang and they're like, this is incredible, we can get up hills.
There's a fire!
Yeah. How good's that?
That's awesome. Martin Martin, it's the moment of truth.
I've been waiting a long time for this, a good day.
What, you've been waiting a long time to steal a turbo off my Forester?
Yeah, put it on a good car.
Is that why we did the whole like turbo swap thing, just so you could have this?
Might have been.
This turbo served me so well, dude. It dragged around my slow Forester. There were romances in that car, even.
Really?
One night when I was by myself, and I had many good times. And now it's going to go into this car, hopefully for some more good times, and you can have some romances with a fellow or a woman or anyone you like in this car.
I just want to have a romance with my turbo.
Yeah. Well,
Look at it.
Yeah.
See, the moment that everybody's
It's going on, Martin. It's going in. There it is.
Look how
It's
well
on.
it fits.
I'm going to hold it, Martin.
You can hold my nuts.
And unlike the Garrett turbo, Yoda tells us, you don't even need spanners to put this on, Martin. Just finger tight. No, you can put it on just with a socket, Martin. You don't need anything else.
Yeah.
Martin, this is Subaru making love with the Mazda.
A very small, very boat anchory old engine.
This is so good.
Yeah.
It's an old man getting new balls.
Do you know that we're actually increasing its efficiency? It's more efficient with a turbo engine on.
It probably is. That sounds boring though. I just want to hear about the performance.
Dude, I want to talk about efficiency and how like new engines with efficient, they're much more efficient because for the same capacity with the same power output you're using more fuel and all this. That's what everyone talks about with turbos, isn't it?
Yeah. Dude, this is going to be awesome.
Yeah, man.
Turbo too small for a Forester, too big for a Miata.
Too big.
Yes.
Perfection. Look at it. Meant to be there.
And look at its rotated awesomeness.
Yeah.
I think we need to cut to that shot again of Turbo Yoda with the choir singing in front of the fan. Mad.
How good is that?
Okay, so the turbo is on and that's pretty exciting. It's going to enjoy a new life on Marty's Miata MX-5 Roadster machine, where he's going to love many men and women and the occasional animal as he takes them for a ride. This here is the oil feed that we need to lubricate the turbo. So this here is going down straight out of that hole that was already provided to us by Mazda, which was very, very kind. So that's literally just going straight on there. That is going to make sure everything spins and is nicely lubed up. Then the oil return is going down into the bung that's going into the sump. This here, we've lubed up one end of the pipe. We're going to put the bottom on first because otherwise it gets very difficult. So lube this up and then we're going to stick it in the bottom, Martin, of the bung, which is right down here. It's like it's going to be a little bit of a tricky one, mate, because there's a lot of pipe in the way. But I'm going to force it into the bottom. Okay, here we go. I'm putting it in, Martin. That's in, and then I'm just going to bring this up to here. We're going to cut this here, and then that's going to be going on the return here. And then we've got a lubricated turbo, Martin, which means it's going to spin fast and juicy. Fantastic, Martin. Fantastic.
Where's the other one? Where's the other clamp?
I'll just get it for you.
Thanks.
Hold on. I'm going to send it down the thing. Put your hands down there. So near your knees. This is awkward, isn't it? I'm glad this bit never made it into the video.
Me too.
So good with the Maddie one. I'm not coping with how awesome that is really right now. I'm really excited, Martin.
This one's
So we're not running a boost controller, we're literally just running the wastegate pressure, which on this turbo is around 7 or 8 PSI. So that is our boost controller. We're literally just going to put that there, the other end in the turbo. Later on, if we want, we can snip that and we can put a T-piece in there, or we can run that into an electronic boost controller, or we can even program the boost pressure with the new ECU that's going to be in Marty's Mad Miata. So that is our boost control. That's cheap. That's probably 20 cents worth of rubber. And that's about as much fun. Actually, there's more fun you can have with 20 cents worth of rubber. But in terms of your car, that's about as fun as it gets. It's going to be awesome. Next up, Marty's welding up a custom dump pipe
faux shizzle! Our turbo oil feed is attached to the turbo, which is now bolted firmly to the engine. Next up, we got to make up our dump pipe, which Turbo Yoda lets Marty have a crack at himself.
Let's Yoda come and have a look and give it a score out of 10.
This is nervous, man.
Out of 10, and I want you to treat it like he was a real student and give it an actual score.
Does it improve or get worse at any point?
No, it's pretty good. It's pretty spot on.
Out of 10, be honest.
9.
Yes!
Nine?
I thought I was expecting a 6. It looks like dimes and stuff. Isn't that the whole dime stacking thing everyone's always on about?
Not really, because you're not filling it.
Oh.
Dime stacking is like aluminium welding.
Hey Marty, quit while you're ahead, mate. You got a 9. Let's just leave it.
Yeah, 9. 9's good.
The dump pipe is marked, measured again, and then cut and welded. It's tricky, but it needs to be perfect to get around the rest of the engine bay parts.
Dude, you did a better weld than I did.
No, I didn't, Martin.
No, I think you actually...
You got a 9 out of 10, Martin. You got a 9 out of 10, Martin. There's nowhere to go from there. Exactly.
Yoda, what's that weld? I mean, you're judging off a small one.
Be honest.
That's really good.
7?
Yeah. We'll go as a 7. It's not really enough to judge, but it's good. For a first time, it's probably
Thanks, Yoda.
an 11 for a first time.
An 11 for a first time, boom! The fines for not running a catalytic converter are huge, and Captain Planet doesn't like it, which means he's going to land his foot in a hole in your body somewhere, and most of you are not going to enjoy it. Our dump pipe is 3 inch, so we're stretching out some 2.5 inch pipe to 3 inches to attach to the dump. Up until this point, we've TIG welded everything, but a MIG welder comes in handy underneath the car for tacking together pieces of exhaust.
This is the last remaining piece of the exhaust for the MX-5. It's got our wideband bung in there ready to go, and our 100 cell cap. All that's left to do is to weld that up, and then we can put it in, and the exhaust is completely finished. We can move on to other fun stuff.
Now that the turbo can expel its used gas just like rainbows out of the butthole of a unicorn, we need to weld up the intercooler pipes. This is done in much the same way by using a variety of bends to clear the various parts in the engine bay. It's time consuming, but gets the most mad custom results. Everything is tack welded and checked on the car before it's all pulled apart and TIG welded.
So all the plumbing to get the exhaust gas in and out of the turbo is done. We also have to plumb in water to the turbo. It is water cooled, so we're going to tap that off from the side of the block where there's a bung. It fits the same size fittings at our turbo, which is awesome, so that's going to go on one side of the turbo. Then we're going to tee off and return it back into the cooling system, and then our turbo will stay cold.
We tap one from the top radiator hose sort of side of things and one from the bottom. So the water pump circulates it through the turbo core.
With the turbo water lines installed, we can fill the engine with fresh oil. It is possible to use factory injectors, but they're known to run out of flow when boost is added. Subaru injectors and other common Japanese injectors also fit with some slight modification. They are more modern and have a better spray pattern, as well as flowing much more fuel. Now, a lot of this stuff is optional, but we're also swapping the factory fuel pressure regulator for a rising rate unit off a 1JZ. It adds extra fuel pressure to compensate for the intake being pressurized by the turbo.
There's only one pipe that should be blown, and it's not an intercooler pipe, so we're rolling the ends of the pipe with a joint to prevent blown intercooler pipes because they're not mad. The finished pipes are then installed underneath the car, and the exhaust can be fitted up along with the all-important wideband oxygen sensor. And I was talking about a flute, if you're wondering. Now at this point, the car would still start and run if it had its airflow meter. The flow characteristics would be changed a lot because of the extra exhaust and intake restriction, but you would be able to start it and move it around off boost. But there's no point in trying to boost it, as the stock ECU has no reference to positive pressure and would either misfire or worse, lean out and explode the engine, which sucks ass. That's why an aftermarket or programmable ECU is essential.
It's time to see if we can make this fit this.
A plug-and-play ECU like this one has a socket that is exactly the same as a factory ECU. They're usually configured and have a base map on them, which means you just plug it in and tune it. While Marty gets it set up, Turbo Yoda swaps out the 200,000 kilometre old fuel pump for an aftermarket one.
So our Mega Squirt plug and play, I'm sure would be plug and play if it actually powered up. Our particular one doesn't. That's what you get when you buy secondhand stuff. Luckily, we have this left over from our Daihatsu show card that we never actually finished or wired in. So luckily this MX-5 now gets a brand new Haltech Sprint 500 ECU, which everyone here is really happy about. They're actually cheering, saying thank you, because they're really easy to tune. So we're going to shove this in and then do some skids.
Next time on Mighty Car Mods, we install the aftermarket ECU, tune the car, chuck it on a dyno and enjoy all the goodness of the choo-choo.
This is a whole new experience. I've played with hard ones before, but I've never played with one that's bendy.
Really?
Yeah.